stars. Not every light is gonna guide you.
All right, what's up, everybody? Good to see y'all. So my name's Austin out of the Seattle Tacoma area with Real Broker. Today we're going to be going over Real Brokers conference ever. It's called OneReal down in San Antonio. Today I am joined by Patricia down in Dallas-Fort Worth area, who's a good friend of ours, and of course my normal sidekick, Cassandra, down in Southwest Washington. How are you guys doing?
Good. Just another rainy day in the Pacific Northwest.
It is.
Storms here, so if it goes out, you'll know what's going on. It's like blackest night outside right now.
If the one in Texas is the one that gets hit by the rain the hardest between those of us in the PNW, you know it's going to be a rough day.
Yes.
As long as y'all keep your tornadoes down there, I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah. If you see me dive, yeah. What's up, Dorothy? Are you going to Oz? I'm going to Oz, Matt. Going on the table.
If you guys do have any, free to just leave those below. Whatever platform you're checking this out on, we'll be sure to get to them, comments or whatever. We'd be happy to share that with everybody. Excited to talk about this today because it's kind of a interesting thing as a real estate company. Real estate to build itself out. A lot of times you can see when they go into doing things like holding conferences or creating these larger types of events and doing these things at the beginning, frankly, complete shit show. And I don't know where you guys are, but I really went into this kind of expecting, and I love Real. Like I'm enjoying the brokerage so much. Such a blessing for mine, but I didn't have the highest expectations going into it. How did you guys feel when you guys were sort of getting ready, when you were cashing out the check for the ticket and paying for the hotels? Like, were you expecting something amazing, or were you going more for support? Kind of where was your head at?
Well, I actually didn't really have too many expectations for the event. I didn't even really think about it being the first one. The thing that I was the most excited about was, number one, meeting Patricia in real life, because we had never met in real life. We'd only talked to each other on Zoom or the phone for like 2 years. So that was cool. Everything else was just a bonus, but yeah, the setup, everything was amazing. I didn't really see any hiccups. And I've done a lot of event planning in my life, so it looked good and it was great to be there.
Yeah, I same thing. I didn't go in with too expectation because it was the first one. So I wasn't sure, what was going to happen. I was really excited for the women's group. I knew we were going to do a happy hour, so I was really excited about that. But I've been to a lot of conventions. Conventions is 8, 9, 10,000 people. And I have to tell you, I was blown out of the water. So from having no expectation to like going, wow, this was amazing. It was awesome. I mean, it blew me away.
So you ended up actually bringing Cassandra into Real, right?
Yes.
And this was, if I understand right, this is the first time you guys had actually been able to connect and like be together in person. Is that right?
Yeah, because we met on Clubhouse during COVID, like everybody else. Everybody jumped on Clubhouse at the time. And we used to be in a real estate group called Real Estate Therapy. And there was a group of us. We did it. Well, it started every Friday night. Then it went to like every night. And it became an addiction. So Cassandra, out of the group, just became really good friends. And then, that's the first time we connected. So when we heard it was in San Antonio, we were talking. I'm like, why don't you fly into Dallas and then you can just ride, with us. So it was great. Yeah,
that was a great call. 4 hours on a plane and then 4 hours in a car. It was a fantastic travel day. But I got Buc-ee's out of it.
I had to take her to Buc-ee's because, anybody who comes to Texas, when I have clients or anybody, I'm like, we got to go. Well, like everybody's like, what's a Buc-ee's? I thought she was going to have a nervous breakdown because it's the worst day to go to Buc-ee's. It's the busiest day out of any time. Yeah. So.
I literally walked into this store. There's like 400 gas pumps out front. I've never seen a place with so many gas pumps. There's Sandra had to get out of the car and stop traffic so we could pull into our parking spot. And so we get out of the car, walk into Buc-ee's. I literally walk in and it's like a swirling mess of people and brisket. And I was like, this is too much. And I walked back outside and I was like, I took a couple breaths and was like, okay, like I need to, and then go back in.
Texas is the only two places I'm eating barbecue gas station. That's just all do it.
It's not a regular gas station though, when you think about it. I think people think that because they say it's a gas station. You walk in there, it's like a full-fledged like store. If they make their own jerky, they make their own. I mean, the brisket's phenomenal. So it's a full-fledged store.
They just had islands full of brisket, and you could just go pick up like a brisket sandwich or like a brisket burger, or like whatever you wanted. It was in there, and I was just like, "There's a lot of meat in
here." So is it? This is kind of different. Like I know a lot of people are doing it now, but you guys met on Clubhouse, and you end up linking up. Cassandra ended up running Real with through Patricia. Was it kind of weird, like risking your entire business and making that move under someone you've never met before? That's kind of sidetracked, but just curious.
No. We've spent a lot of time on the phone. I've learned a lot about Real and just about Patricia. Like we are like pretty much best friends now. I know we had never actually physically hugged each other, but like we knew what's going on in each other's lives, like how each other runs their business. And my biggest thing, my switch to Real was financial. It was 100% a financial choice. And I'll be really open and honest. My previous brokerage, I was paying $27,000 a year in cap and was getting absolutely nothing other than someone ordering me some postcards every month.
Yeah.
Nothing. No transaction coordinator, nothing. And I learned a lot. They had great education for agents starting in. And that was another thing that happened at the conference. Real announced that they're doing coaching now for new agents.
Yep.
And that is just awesome. And that will help so much and grow the company so much. But like I made my decision strictly based on financials because I knew that the market was pivoting and I wanted to take the extra money between the 27 and the 12 and reinvest in my business to grow my business because my life has changed in the last probably 6 months and I need to change my business model. And Real's going to help me do it. And Patricia and the people at Real, the other people that we've met through Real, I mean, the people that I met at, oh my gosh, the people I met at conference changed my life. Everyone, they're just all so nice. And everyone's like, I want to help you. I want to help you here. Do this. Hey, try this. Hey, do this. Hey, that was not something that ever happened to me before. It is an amazing culture.
I think, it sounds, I think not only the great people, but I think all being tied together through owning equity in the company, it pushes people to synergize and come together because the better Patricia does, the better I do, the better you do, the better I do. Like it all the way around, it benefits and support one another. And I think that a really beautiful thing. Now once we kind of got to the conference, everybody got settled. I think the first thing we really should touch on really some of these like main stage presentations. These are usually my favorite at any real estate conference I go to. I think it's a lot of like rah, and frankly, I don't need that shit. Like I'm gonna get up every day and do my job. That's what I do.
Yep.
The man who enjoys the walk will walk a lot further than the guy who's trying to the desk. And I don't really need the pump up. But I found a lot of value in these main stage sessions. I think the first day with the company was really, really good. What did you guys get out of that first day with our executive stuff that you think really drove some value?
I like the fact that it is transparent. When I joined, there weren't that many agents yet. I came in and followed somebody over, because I wanted culture. So everybody coming, I think the diversity on the panels, like even with, having the leadership come up, be very honest. I love when Patesh came up and they joked about the issues, because I've been here for almost 2 years now. So there were some issues in the beginning. and they did the Star Wars thing and made fun of it. I mean, it is what it is. A startup company is going to have problems, you know what I mean? But you got to like give it some breathing room. You know, like Vicky said, grace. That was the biggest thing I took out of that word. We got to give people grace, right? And now looking from where we've come just from that point, but now to go back and look at it and laugh. Yeah, now you go back and laugh. So I like the transparency. To be able to come out and say, hey, you know, we effed up and it was crazy. And, you know, here's what happened. You were running by the seat of our pants. And, you know, now
they listen. And that's why they fixed it so fast. Yes. They listen to agents.
And that's huge.
It is. And I also love, I love the ownership. When I first came over to Real, I had sent out a referral like 1 or 2 days into being at the company. And it was honestly, it was a huge pain in the ass to get it settled. Okay. Like I was not happy with the process. And when I called our broker, Ryan, for Washington and addressed it with her, she was like, yes, this is an ongoing problem. We're working on getting it fixed now. There wasn't like, well, did you try this? Why haven't you done that? It was just straight ownership for the issue. And I've seen that culture of ownership, extreme ownership, work its way all the way up through the company. Everybody puts their hands in and is really taking ownership of what's going on at the ground level. And I think that day one with a lot of the panels, a lot of leadership, I think there was an opportunity to really be put under. You've seen executives at conferences get put under fire, and then they literally shit the bed. But because leadership has done such a good job and open and taking responsibility, it was just another conversation. Had they spent more time trying to like cover things up or not be as forward, I think those the first main day set a completely different experience.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
And I think they spent some time really cultivating who they wanted to speak to us and what they wanted to speak to us about. You know, I've only been to one other conference, and I was very underwhelmed and very bored. I was like, where's the bar? I mean, this time, where's the bar had a different meaning, but like, you know, I wanted to sit there. I had to go at one point I was sitting next to Austin and I was like, God, I gotta go to the bathroom, but I don't want to leave. This is so good. Cause like nobody was getting up. The whole room was full and nobody was getting up. I think that was who was talking? Was it Hatch? I think Hatch was talking.
Maybe.
And I was just like, I can't get up. I'm like, I got to go to the bathroom. I was like, crossing my legs. I'm like, the bathroom is so far away and I got to go so bad, but I do not want to leave. It really like the gentleman that was hosting and did an amazing job of pulling you in between and getting you energized and keeping you interactive. And each one of the speakers really had value. I know, like I was kind of going back through my memory of like who we listened to. And I was just like, I had great points for everyone.
Yeah.
And that's rare. I feel like that's rare. Like, I don't feel like you should have like, everyone shouldn't click with you every single time, but it really just was really good. Really good.
I think like I had heard him before the first time, Austin, we had heard him in Houston and he resonates with me because he's so honest and it just from what his story is. And I mean, I think that at this point with the market being the way it is and people in the world in general, I mean, people want that authenticity. And I think people kind of forgot what that is. I think maybe sometimes use the word a lot and not know what that really means. But I felt like that conference, that was a word that it was authentic. When people got up there, it was something for everybody. You know what I mean? Everybody could take something away. So definitely he was one person that definitely, you know, resonated. So yeah.
Well, it's interesting because at the Real Estate Video Blueprint, I actually live streamed Jesse Peters' talk on Facebook. And it really kind of bothered me because 30 days later, the video deleted off of Facebook. And I was like, that was one of my favorite speeches. And at the Real Conference, his talk was very much in the same vein, a lot of the stuff, you know. And I was like, this is awesome because now I'm getting a second chance to kind of take in some of the things that maybe I missed. And he's super authentic going to the consumer. And I also love when we talk about selecting main stage speakers. Our Catch, I think he does a great job of like back to realtors. He doesn't sugarcoat it. He doesn't give you the warm and fuzzies. It's very real. It's very, this is where we're at. This is what it is. Maybe like the animational speaker of real estate, but very realistic. And it resonates very well with me, even in the fact that they were setting for types of speakers. They hit consumer side and they hit for us together. I think there was an intentionality kind of behind it. The other one that I really stood out for me was Sharan. That was a interesting one. Because throughout the course and most real estate conferences that I've been to, applicable knowledge has not been a big point, like something that you can take and physically use. Like I said, a lot of it's just like the hoorah rah kind of thing. And dude's presentation was entirely, here's down and simple, real stupid. Here's a few things you can do to grow your business. And I know one of them, the weekly email. So if you guys don't know what we're talking about, reach out to really any three of us and we can get it to you. But the weekly email for, a deal of the week, I'm returning over 20% result, open results on these emails with a database over 6,000 people. Cass, you said you had, out of it too, you had like 7 people actually respond back, not just open, respond back.
Yes. Actually, and it's more than that. I've gotten 2 more, and those were emails. I've actually gotten 3 more text messages today. So I've had 10 people out of the 100 that I emailed reach out to me about this deal of the week, which, by the way, is a condo in the mountains, off market. If any of you are interested.
So if you think about this right here, Cass does nothing but sends out this email, and she gets 7 people a week to respond to it. And she does this every week, even on her week, because it's really easy to do. And then let's say out of those, she's only able to convert one person. Cass is making about $60,000 this year alone from sending out one email that's just a few lines of text. So if you're interested, if you could use an extra 60 grand in your pocket, reach out to one of us. If you don't need an extra 60 grand in your pocket, would you reach out to us also? Because I want to know what it is that you're doing where you don't need 60 grand. That would be super incredible.
Yes. I agree with that. I want to know what you're doing. You hit it on the nose too with like Hatch being very not the feely thing. I think this is the type of market where we need like balls to the wall right now. This is a total shift in market. I mean, I know you guys are seeing the same thing. I mean, we've gone down like in 1 month, like 38%. I mean, we're seeing agents are in a panic right now.
Oh, it's brutal.
It's brutal. And it's just going to get worse. I mean, I was on a Fed call, a webinar talking about it. And they're even saying, look, we got a volatile market for the next year.
Oh, the one from last week that I was on too?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the numbers are, they will level, but he said this next coming year is not going to be good. So we need true facts, not sugarcoat.
And that camaraderie, I think this conference was built for a time where we're going to come in together and the market's going to be rough and we're going to grow together and get through it. But the ability to come together as things are kind of shitty was a really nice.
Yeah.
So last thing on the main stage, like Patricia, you head up like a women's network at Real. You guys had a really cool. I really enjoyed it. I'll be honest with you. It was one of my personal favorite moments because there are some women in that panel that I have a lot of respect for. And there are some that I've not necessarily been able to connect with at the level that I would like to. And after getting to hear their stories, I kind of know more. A lot of these women are insanely busy. Tammy Price being one. We always give a quick hug and a hi, and I never feel like we could connect. Like I didn't know what she was going through in her life. Mm-hmm. I didn't know the way she was brought up. I had no idea of any of this stuff. And it was very, very empowering. I loved getting to hear those stories. And I think that's, we have a big culture of women supporting women, but it's just kind of bullshit. There's not a lot of actual. And so I thought that was another just transparent moment that was very thing. Can you tell me a little bit of like into that panel and what I'm trying to convey and what you're hoping to get out of it?
I mean, the whole thing is I had never been in real estate for 18 years and I've never been on a panel on a main stage. I mean, it was a nervous wreck. I could tell in Cas, oh my God. But it was really great because I love for me, that is my way to give back, especially with women. I mean, nothing against men, obviously, but women empowerment. And like I said, I run that group for, people for accountability. And sometimes women just, we have so much going on. You're trying to run your family, you're trying to run your business, you have self-doubt, you get in your head, and sometimes just women have to talk it out. That's just how women are. Once we talk it out and we know that support exists. So I started the group in my previous company and now I've done it here. And it just feels like this has grown, but the way it's grown, it's been slower, which at first was a little frustrating, but now it seems like it's grown, but everybody's kind of like come together. So, and that's what you want. I mean, you're going to have you're going to have a certain group that are going to be really like gung-ho and want to be involved. But I think that just knowing that support is there. We have our own educational classes, starting in January. We've got some powerhouse women, that run teams and groups. And I mean, Michelle does probate. I mean, different types of stuff. So I want to be able to bring that just in that own setting there. We do a mastermind, which will be on the 15th. We open that to everybody and we talk about different topics. But I think the month before we had talked about mental health. That one I closed because people want to be transparent, some of that stuff. But that's been the great thing about having that panel. So when I was asked to speak on it, it was an honor because I think everybody doesn't know people's stories. And like Tammy told her story, Tammy talked about hers, and it's just like me, it's just that getting into that self-doubt, and how to overcome that. But by having that support and knowing you have a whole team and a group behind you, that's priceless.
Cass, you got anything to add to the women's panel?
I mean, I was super stoked for Patricia. I remember when she told me that she was going to be on the panel, and then like we roomed together while we were there, and she's like, I'm so nervous. I'm so glad you brought your curling iron. I need to fluff my hair. And I'm like, girl, you're fine. I'm like, you're going to kill it. And so like when they called her name, like we were just like,
yeah, we got
it was so powerful to see. Like I come from a corporate background, and like I was like the only woman in my corporate office, and it was just me. And it was nice to see other powerful, successful women being recognized and people like genuinely like taking it in instead of being like, oh, okay, cool,
whatever.
Yeah.
No, it didn't feel like it was a sidebar. It felt like we were made as part. During that happy hour, we raised over $4,000 for breast cancer. It was Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I mean, the company itself, we had swag. I mean, the food, I mean, they just went over and beyond for the group, which makes my heart feel good because it's like, then you feel like you're doing something, but you have the backing of a company, it's awesome.
Yeah, there was a really awesome, I guess we call it a mixer. It was like a women's group mixer.
Yes.
They did allow me to come in and drink,
yes.
And I appreciated it. I think I drank girly drinks at the mixer just out of support. But it was,
you
but
came
it was
to
really
support
neat.
The Tatas.
Yeah,
yes,
and I will tell you, I think that was the biggest guest gathering at the entire conference.
I was shocked so many people were there, and there were 3 things going on, y'all, and there was a lot of people.
We were hopping.
I looked around it and I was like, shit, there's a lot. I got a little lost. Like,
they needed a bigger room. Like that room was full. I had a hard time walking through that room. Like I was shocked to see how full it was. I was not expecting that. But like, that's another thing that Real did really great is they communicated. Like at the beginning, a lot of us felt like that happy hour was for women only, but they sent a text message to all the attendees and said, everyone's invited. Please come support. This is hosted by the Women of Real. Like, please come, show your support, have food, have drinks, let's rock and roll, support breast cancer. And like the people showed up.
They did.
It was awesome.
I mean, it was great. And the other thing too, I want to point out about this conference is, and me and Patricia talked about this a little bit one-on-one, but I come from another cloud-based brokerage, and originally, same as Patricia, and events and a lot of parts put on, but we were always 100% responsible for making that shit happen. But it was always on us. If we wanted to have snacks, food, if we wanted to have a bar, like we paid for that out of pocket.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and in this was we were trying to raise money for a good and throw so gathering to get people on board. The company stepped up and took care of that stuff, which I thought was pretty awesome because it was something they needed or had to do.
No, they didn't.
Over just well. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I really
it just goes back to the culture of everything from the top down, like the culture of leadership to the culture of the agents to the culture of the people that we want to bring in. Like it just speaks volumes to that.
Yep.
We laugh, when people say, and I know that it sounds kooky, but when people say that people want to collaborate, we have these masterminds and then then you find your tribe. That's why I think it's so important to go to these conferences, because you find the people that you definitely your core, and then you expand out a little bit, but everybody wants to help everybody. I mean, hey, like Cass was saying, try this, do this. But I mean, a lot of people think that that's bullshit, but really it's not. And we have some big teams that people, they don't need to bother with anybody, but they do. I mean, you call up, I had a question. I, sent a message and I got a phone call. I mean, I didn't expect that, so I appreciate that, but agents all want to help each other and it's great.
Yeah. I've had similar experiences just in the last 2 weeks since getting back, like with people that I've met. I had questions because I saw how somebody did something on Instagram and I was like, how did you do it? Like, I know how to do that most of the time, but like, how did you get your own image in there? And it's like 7:30 in the morning here. He's on the East Coast and he just like Instagram calls me. He's like, hey, we talked for like 10 minutes. He told me how to do it. I'm like, thanks, man.
Mm-hmm. Ramsey, I haven't financially recovered.
That first night with Ramsey, that was amazing. LobbyCon was fantastic. Austin, you missed the first night with
Ramsey. Is the largest individual I have ever seen. My husband's big. I was like, oh my God, you're so tall. He's like, you're so short. I'm like, holy crap. Yeah.
If you're not following Real Broker Ramsey here, you need to jump on it. He has a very great TikTok page and swollen content. If you're really big close-ups of people's faces, he's the guy.
Yeah, like up like this. I see their nose there.
They don't get old. They don't get old. I laugh every day when there's a new one.
Just breaks the cycle constantly. So Ramsey, we hope that you financially recover. A good way to do that is by doing more business, by taking the things that you learned at the conference and putting them into play. That's right. So it's fun. Ramsey and I I'm from Missouri originally. He's in Missouri. We've even collaborated. We're not in the same, if you want to call it a downline, we have none of those things in connection. I don't live in Missouri at all, but we've had multiple conversations on the phone. We've talked. We've now, met in person. That's what's so cool about all is like, it just ties everybody together. And we're really moving to a phase where if you have an office for your real estate business, to it. They're just not. People can do everything they can do from the office at home. And these allow people to have that connection otherwise have. Right now, if you're at a brokerage that has an office at home, even if you're at Real and you have a office at home, you're still able to really get with everybody at this event. And that was one of the top tier things about this experience for me.
It was so surreal. So like I joined Real in April and I started following Patricia's like, follow this person. And like, I just kind of started following people and like Austin and I would talk about people and like, I would go follow like people he'd talk about or whatever. And so like, I felt like I knew all these people, but they had no clue who I was. Right. And so like, I show up and I'm like, oh my gosh, I know everything about you. Cause like I follow your Instagram or whatever. And then like, I got to know them and like, then we just started laughing. And then I think it was the second or the third day of the second day of conference. I like showed up without my hat on. And someone's like, who are you? Because like, I guess people had just started knowing me with the hat. And so I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, so I ran back upstairs and grabbed it. But like, it was just really funny, like where you get to know people through social media and then you actually meet them in person. And you're like, oh my gosh, you're amazing. I love you.
Well, what I love about it is there are people that you think would be, I don't want to say intimidating or they're so far ahead of where you're at. I want to spend time with you. Live in, right? And then you meet them like, oh shit, like that guy's not an asshole. And like you would be, I've been blown just by the one-on-one chips inside this company. Mm-hmm. And when I was a DXP, so I'll just name it. I would anybody and everybody DXP that I could because of our revenue share model. And I will tell you, I'm still an avid agent attraction guy, but I'm a hell of a lot more picky about who I bring over because I do love culture. I think it's been, I mean, I don't want it soured. And I hope that our teams and our agents and our brokers share that sentiment with me as well.
Yes, I agree with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's huge because culture to me is everything. I mean, we're our own agent, and I know a lot of times the name doesn't matter because the clients hire us. But still, if I'm going to hitch my horse to the wagon, I want to make sure that I'm 100% on with the culture and the company.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
Last thing on our main stage, we had Real did bring in Ryan Serhant to be a guest speaker for $1 Million Listing. Heard Ryan speak before on different things, read a couple of his books. He's always been a very entertaining guy. Had a very entertaining speech. It was very entertaining. It was fun.
Yeah.
Did you guys pick up any nuggets out of that? Do you think it'd be good to share with the group?
I
mean, he talked about making your own market. Like if he had like a 35 or a $40 million condo and he just made his own market for it. Like that's cool. And like, I feel like that's where the market's going right now.
And how about that one story he told about where he showed that guy that really expensive one, but he told him no.
Yeah.
He's like, we're going to go look at these other ones. And he's like, oh, don't tell him yes. Tell him no. I'm like, tell him no. I'd be like, sign here. Yeah.
It was crazy. His stories were good. They really were. Like they felt like they weren't even real, but like it's just a different level of real estate, I guess, out there.
Yeah.
One's the guy like leased like one apartment in his first year. So like the great thing about it is you hear these stories of real estate really taking 36 months for your business to take off. And we know most agents will pretty much exit before they even renew their license. Mm-hmm. And I know that Ryan's story is such fucking like bomb from the normal routine. Mm-hmm. But if you think about it, if you look at his track record, like what if he had quit 2 years in? Yeah. And how agents quit 2 years in right before they turn that corner? I mean, you're probably not going to end up on $1 Million Listing fucking Cincinnati or wherever it is you're at, but your business has been fully developed. Yeah. And people get too short. And that's one of the things I loved about his story was the realization that like, hey, this doesn't just take off.
No.
And you got to work a lot.
You do. And for our group in particular, brokerage, we just surpassed 7,000. Amazing. Proud of us for it. But not everybody inside of our brokerage is closing 50 deals a year. I think it was really great to hear that story of not just here's where I'm at, because that stuff is very intimidating. When you're a new and everyone around you is just crushing it, the first thing you want to do is you want to connect Patricia or a Cas, and you want to learn what they're doing to get business. But at the same time, it feels far away, and you don't always realization of like, hey, they had to go through these exact same things. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I've brought from that conference is that I'm going to tell that story to people. I started telling that story of what the come up looked like, what the development looked like, what the stress of my family looked like, what the 100-hour weeks looked like. You cannot just flashy beautiful. And I think he did a good job of conveying that throughout his speech.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I agree with that. And I think now with the market changing, we keep saying that, but I mean, I'm doing this for 18 years. So I know what we're going into. And the thing is that I think people need to get back to just basic stuff. That's why I had said, let people get intimidated because they look at all these people on social media you can't do a comparison. You got to stop doing that. You got to sit down and you got to look at your business. You got to figure out 3 things you can do consistently. And you just got to, being past client, being social, sphere of influence is huge. That's where my business lies. But I think that people get overwhelmed and then they get that analysis paralysis thing, and they don't see the work. They just like, I got to make this money. And they start selling their own pocketbook, which is the worst thing to do. So I think that's why with our company, there's people here to help, to at least sometimes you just got to stop, breathe and start again. And it's okay.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Just getting your business down. And that was, I think, kind of leads me to my next point from the conference was your business down. The tech team reels in. So for those who aren't at Real, we've had this really great app for a long time. And I'm not saying that. This is not KW Command, an app that we all really like, and it's tracked our business. It's allowed us to see where we're at financially. It's allowed us to manage referrals, see our transactions as they're going, and it's been a great tracker. At this conference, they announced the start of the new app called Real Zen, which is an expansion upon our original app. And there are a few different steps we're going to be going through, but we've already initiated the first wave of that. So Patricia, would you like to kind of tell us like what has changed on that software that you've been using so far?
I mean, I started looking at it yesterday with my transaction coordinator. I'm like, let's figure this out. Actually, I was going to ask Cass about that. I was like, I don't
Well, okay, I can talk to it a little bit. So
Good.
what they're doing, basically, a lot of us use DigiSign and DocuSign and SkySlope. They are moving all of that into one app where we can track all of our information. We can put our transactions in there. We can get documents signed. A lot of people that use SkySlope know that they have SkySlope forms now. Well, they're also going to integrate the forms from your state. So basically, we're going to have everything in one little spot, and you're not going to have 18 apps on your phone anymore.
Yay.
Yes.
And it's going to flow faster. You're going to get paid faster. Your information's going to get from where it is to where it needs to be. The one cool thing they were really talking about is like, so yeah, your PB, your principal broker needs to, or your managing broker needs to review your paperwork, right? Well, they can review it in there, and then you can have, there's like a private chat in every transaction, and they can say, like, hey, I need this, or like, and you can send like emojis to each other and all this stuff. So you're not sending an additional email or text message outside. It's all there and it's all in the transaction, which is amazing because then you're not going to 18,000 places. It's just right there.
And I love that chat feature has been amazing for me already. Obviously sending a few transactions since getting back from the conference, I've gotten an opportunity to use it, and having the real estate team, there's other agents on board, there's partners, there's a state broker, there's the TC, and now everyone's communicating this nice little bubble. Nothing is getting missed. Nothing is falling apart. And, when you're a single agent and you don't have partners or ISAs, and sometimes it's a little easier just to, hey, broker, what's going on? But for those of you that run or even are a part of teams, I think this is going to be a massive, because everything is centralized in one place. And also your TCs can act as you in that app, so they can get in there and manage your stuff for you, which is, and then if you want to have some oversight because you just can't fully look, you can always peek right in and take a look at it. For the nerd and the pizza lover in me, I love the little pizza tracker thing.
Yeah.
Things are that to me is like me and a friend of mine, Daniel, brought down about like 4 years ago, and we had I don't know, probably like 40 bush lights between us, and we were like, what if we could build an app that was like a pizza tracker real estate? And so it's really funny to like have had that conversation years ago, and now like here it is, my fingertips, like somebody did it finally.
Forget protection. That's all I got to say about that. Forget protection.
I didn't make any money off of it, but I don't care because it's available for me to use. That's really all that matters.
That's
and
awesome.
I think there's going to be more. There's the concept of just bringing the entire transaction inside of the app. And I think once we do that, we're going to make life so much easier, not only on the brokers, but also on the consumers. And I know that's going to take a few years to get built, but it was really exciting to sit down and have the conversation about a tool that we can use that will really, really help our people grow and move faster and keep people in the loop. The biggest complaint that I think any real estate agent gets is a communicate, right? That's the number one complaint. The real estate agents, right? So if we have a tool that we can loop everyone in together, imagine how much less of that experience. That's
I agree. Communication fixes everything.
Yes.
Oh man, good stuff. All right, so let's discuss my favorite part of the whole conference, which was LobbyCon.
LobbyCon.
So when I say LobbyCon, for those of you who this is where real estate agents get into a hotel lobby an absurd amount of beverages, and talk and discuss business. Just this really cool social event. And like Ramsey says,
Ramsey.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I don't know how many of those that I bought. I mean, the people are like, "Oh, get me another one of those tequila old fashions, Cass." I'm like, "Sure."
I didn't drink that. That's too strong for me.
But here's the thing that I thought about. There is a picture that came back from the conference. If I had it here, I'd blow it up for you. But there's like 10 of us. Ramsey's in the middle, and we're all kind of spread around Ramsey. And which it's funny that he's on here for this. But in my mind, I think everyone around me that I was talking to them was like, "Wow, you guys are having so much fun. Looks like a great time." And all I could think when I looked at that photo was like, how many millions of dollars are pumped into this economy right there.
There it is.
Hold on. This is really bad technology by us, but here you go, guys.
There it is.
But all I could think was how many millions are pumped into the economy in that right there.
Yeah.
Polls go back and forth. How many people in Seattle, Washington that need to move their ass all the way to Dallas, Texas now have figured out they're going to go to and have a safe haven because me and Patricia were in the same room. Like I had this very weird, like inappropriately overwhelming realization that there's so much power in those moments at that time. I don't know if you guys kind of feel the same way, if you're just in a blast, but that's really kind of hit me with all of that.
That's where you get it all. I mean, I already got a referral. So, I mean, and that closes, that pays for the whole thing. So that's where you make that's why I was talking about the tribe. That's where y'all click. And that's where you find your people, you know, and the people like us, and then we add more. And that's why these conferences are so important. It's not necessarily, you do get nuggets from the stage, but it's that of the relationship building. That's everything. That's why you go.
Yeah, I completely agree. So like I've got friends and family that live all over the country, and like they know that I'm the knowledge broker. They follow me on Facebook. My friends are like, "Oh, they all know I'm a real estate agent." They're like, so I had one couple that I was friends with in college. They reached out to me and they said that they were moving from Arizona over to, I think it was like South Carolina, and they're like, "We need an agent." Well, guess who I met at conference? And so it's not just like it wasn't just like looking up a phone number or whatever, but I met people and like met them and was like, "Hey, like my friends are moving from here to here. Like, can you help them?" And I knew that after even meeting them, that this was the person that needed to be helping them make their move.
Well, this agent referrals it's my number one closed lead source every year.
Yep.
And I will tell you guys, those of you that don't want to spend money on going to real estate conference, if you have your intentionality set for the right reasons, it's 100% worth it. I went to the Blueprint Video Conference, like days after joining Real, literally days. I said, "You know what? I'm here. Here's an opportunity for me to interject myself into the community. And if you guys know me, I'm pretty aggressive. So I did that right away. And within 30 days, I had done well over $1.5 million in referrals out of Real from going to that. And all came from people at that little get together.
I don't know why you didn't yell at me more to go to that. I'm so mad at myself for not. It looked like so much fun.
I walked out towards the bar area. He's like, "Hey," I'm like, "Hey," and that was it. That was it. Long story short.
I do I'm in these lobby cons. Like I go to these events and I have accountability partners. And I have coaches, and I tell them my goals. I'm going to meet X amount of new people. And I go to those conferences and I make damn sure that I do that.
Yep.
I will tell you, I'm trying to go back to the whole at the women's networking session with everybody being crammed in that same room. Over half of my goal of people in that one little flock. So it was excellent. But yeah, the tequila old fashioned were amazing. There are also a lot of conferences that don't give you a lot of free time. It's like there's an event,
right.
Then there's like an after thing, and then there's like another thing. And And one of the things I really liked about this real conference was there was a certain level of freedom where when I was done with the conference, I could dictate what I want to do. And that's something that a lot of these companies are so wrapped up in, just have something all the time. But like, some people actually need to go take a nap. Some people need to get on the phone and call their clients because they're a single agent and they've got 5 or 6 deals going on and they don't want to miss something. One of the things I loved about this time was Real Broker gave us the opportunity to actually network. They didn't just fill our time up 24/7, and we really got a chance to get to know one another and do what I don't know why that point is so important, but this last year I've been to several conferences and there've been quite a few of them that have just dictated every minute of my time.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I know it sounds crazy, but I like the fact how everything was close together. I like, for me, I hate having to go from one place to the other to your room. This was great. Everything was right there. I like that. I'm big on aesthetic.
Well, and then the location, like, of the hotel itself. I mean, we walked outside. I know, like, in the evening, sometimes you're like hungry and you're like, we were right on the Riverwalk and there was tons of places to eat. So we just walked out and picked a place. I mean, they had plenty of food too, but like sometimes, you get wrapped up talking and you forget to eat at those happy hours.
You know how I feel. I don't like to walk around and carry food and eat and talk to people. You're spitting all over.
Go in the corner, shovel it in really quick, and then go keep talking.
We got to have several dinners and lunches and stuff that were within walking distance for us because of the location with small groups. And I really enjoyed that. We didn't have to spend a ridiculous amount of money on Ubers or anything like that. It was a very good centralized location for everything. And then it didn't want to spend the money. There were a couple hotels basically backed up to it that were a little more inexpensive. Ultimately, I mean, I think our buddy Ramsey, who's been on here before, probably said it went too far away. We heard several about that, but I stayed at a different hotel, but it took me less than 5 minutes to walk over. And I said, like, doing it. So for me, but having the Riverwalk, right on the other side was the Alamo, so that was kind of cool. I hadn't been over there for a while. I forgot that it's like right in the middle of town. So weird. But here's what I will tell you. I would like to see her in a different location. I'd like to see like Vegas or something like that. Maybe even
San Diego.
Orlando. Yeah, I mean, West Coast, obviously, that's gonna be what we want.
Well, generally for like most of the conferences I've ever attended, like you're looking at, for the size of the people, like Orlando, you might end up in like Nashville,
Vegas.
You might end up in Vegas or San Diego.
Yeah.
And that's those are like the really big spots. So like, obviously I want to go somewhere where there's nice weather and no hurricanes. So San Diego sounds great.
Yeah. Oh, San Diego's great. Well, what, for me, again, aesthetic. I mean, I like where it's not so big. Like I've gone to so many like conferences in Vegas and it's like, oh my God, it wears you out just the amount of getting everywhere you need to go and you can't find anybody, so I don't know. I'm on a smaller scale, to try to find people. So yeah.
I like what Ramsey said here about, the actual culture of Texas agents, like San Antonio agents. We do have such a big group of people in Texas. It blows my mind how fast Real is growing in Texas. And I mean, everywhere. I have an agent that I brought over who's in El Paso, and she was like, hey, I'm having a hard time. And I've made a few posts, and it was like, doom, 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 doom. Like I had people in El Paso, Texas. Like, it blows my mind. And I know San Antonio's growing big. Seems like Dallas areas growing quite a bit. It definitely seemed like a true location for the first one.
Yeah.
Me in San Antonio, it was like flying. My flew to Fargo earlier in the year. It was like flying Antonio cost me a lot more money. Like Austin, just drive an hour and save a lot. I would like to not have to do these like jet flights at some point. Like actually somewhere where you can from SeaTac place and be done.
Yeah.
That would be my one big critique for next year is just, can I go on Alaska Airlines and fly place and be done?
Yes.
Nice. That's all I want. That's it. Nothing else.
I completely agree with that.
I agree.
4 hours to Dallas and then don't get me wrong. The 4 hours in the car with Patricia and Sandra was a blast.
Right.
But I would much prefer
they had to earn their keep. Air and tires, do the windows.
Yeah, I washed your windows at Buc-ee's.
At Buc-ee's. Well, you know, the only thing that like I will tell you, and by the way, guys, we're super transparent. We're going to tell you the ups and downs of everything. I wasn't a super huge fan of the white party. Like it looked so cool on like TikTok and Instagram.
That's why we didn't wear white, right?
Where's that aesthetics?
But first of all, Cass and I decided to wear all black head to toe for the event when it was an all white party. So
you should have seen the stares we got.
Yeah, but really, again, I'm just that guy that really loves the one-on-one connection and the ability to have conversation and you know, love on people. I felt like in that environment, it was just a lot like I was in Night at the Roxbury, but everyone wasn't all white. It was like I felt like I was at a rave. That's what I felt like.
Yeah. I talked to a couple other agents that went, and they're like, it was a lot of fun, but like, they're like, every time I touched a trash can, I got stains all over my clothes. And so like when people were walking back into the lobby, they were just like covered in stuff, like whether they meant to or not. Like,
yeah.
The one plus there was an open bar. So I'll company that. The open bar was probably a pretty big hit, but we decided to bounce out and go have dinner with some of our friends, and I think it was a really good choice. You know,
yeah, because we showed up with
at my dinner.
We did. We totally bombed your dinner.
Well, it just kept you know going and growing, and people kept showing up, and so it was a really it turned into something really good. But I would like to see at the next conference some kind of a blend between like, I guess throwing a huge giant rager and also some like more balanced space. If we could do that, I think that would go with different groups. Cause like, I hate to tell you this, but not everybody at Real Broker is 19 years old. Like people are.
I don't know. Did you see a lot of those videos and TikToks? They were getting down. I mean, even leadership was dancing up on the tables and stuff.
The Tesh, they were pouring out. That's why everybody got sick. Well, I don't know why we got sick. I wasn't there, but everybody was pouring the drinks. Let's talk about the one flu.
Yeah, OneReal, one flu.
I was gonna. We had 8 minutes left, and somehow y'all slipped that in.
You go to conferences, you get sick. If you didn't get sick, you didn't do it right.
I rode the plane home. I was like coughing my face off. I rode the plane home, and like I almost decided to leave the Phoenix airport where my layover was because I felt so crappy that I was like, I don't know if they're gonna. I was coughing. I was like, I don't think they're gonna let me on the plane. But I had a mask on. I was like, I'm gonna put a mask on. And I was like trying not to cough. I'm like,
yeah, you're like,
I just need to get home.
And your first thought is that every broker for real now has COVID.
yes.
You can't get anything but COVID anymore.
I know.
Luckily we didn't. Thank God, tests and everything were available.
Everybody was fine. It was just, well, that's why I was like, you get on the plane. I told Sandra because she was so sick. I didn't get as sick as Sandra did. Before Tim, he got it because of me. But I was like, you're gonna get on the plane and people are gonna think you're like patient zero.
Yeah. I called my husband and I said, don't bring the dog. I'm sick. I'm going to need to be in a mask until I get home and take a rapid test because I don't know what I have.
She texted me. She showed me both places. I'm good. No COVID. I'm like,
I'm good. No COVID. And then a couple other people actually ended up going to urgent care and like tested positive for the flu. So
yeah, everybody had the flu.
I'm like, whose kids gave that to their parents and brought it? Whose kids did this?
Colton Whitney put a post underneath my post and said something like one hand sanitizer at every conference. And I thought, wonder how many like hugs I got.
I know. We were all
personal space.
everybody.
And it was nice to be in people's personal space for like the first time in a long time.
Yes, it was.
You gotta hug people.
Yeah, that's a South thing. I'm a hugger too, so it's completely fine.
Yeah.
So, on the upside, we had a great venue. We had amazing speakers, some new technology that came out of it. We did some good things for charity. Downside, we had a white party, which we didn't really care too much for. And then on top of that, everybody got sick.
Yeah.
Pros or cons that you guys want to throw in as we're kind of wrapping up? Anything that stands out? Oh, Patricia's got a pumpkin.
Paula. So the story, I grew Paula in my garden, and I brought Paula the pumpkin all the way down to Dallas to Patricia.
Yes, this is a well-traveled pumpkin.
It is a well-traveled
Paula.
pumpkin. Yes, and it loved it.
Because anybody who loves me knows I love pumpkins. So Paula's my favorite, and up till Thanksgiving, my pumpkins stay out. So yeah, but Paula is on my little cart on my kitchen.
Paula was supposed to be larger, but the larger version of Paula didn't fit in my carry-on luggage. So that was the one that got to go.
Microscopic.
Yeah, you really can't fly a pumpkin.
Overall, I think the conference was great. Like I said, it solidified relationships I already had. I got to meet people like Cas, who I talked to like 75 million times a day. And then plus it solidified some other relationships with people I didn't meet. So I finally feel like, and like I said, with the women's group, I feel like we got this big push. And for me, I got good, nuggets, things for my business. So overall, it was an A+. I mean, it was great.
Yeah, it was a win for me. I know we've talked a lot about culture on this call, and that's a huge thing for me. When I picked my first brokerage, it was about the culture. This move was a financial move, but also I never realized exactly to what extent of the culture I was walking into until I went to this conference. And it really did change my life. People want me to succeed. Everyone does. Everyone wants everyone to succeed. You need something, they're there. It's not a burden. It's just a blessing.
Yes.
So what is one, as we wrap up here, what's one tactical takeaway from the conference that you could share with any real estate broker watching this?
I like my deal of the week from Sharon. It is kicking butt and taking names. Last week was like, okay, I had some technical difficulties, but Austin did really well last week, and he's shooting his next one off this week. Tomorrow, mine did great today. I can't wait to get back with my clients. That's going to change my business. The deal of the week, like how to exactly sell it. It's a super easy email. It's basically, here's my deal of the week. Don't give them an address. Don't give them pictures. You give them like 6 bullet points. You don't tell them how many beds or baths. You're like a little bit about the property, a little bit about what you like about the property, price, and
Love it. Yeah, I think that's very powerful. I think it's something anybody can do.
Yeah.
Anybody can do it. I mean, literally anybody. Beautiful. What about you? Tactical takeaway?
I would say with the market changing, it's really get it down. Pick those 3 things, be consistent, and make sure your systems are in place, and try to cut budgets and things that aren't working, and be consistent with what you're doing and stay with your sphere of influence. I mean, we heard that, in the little niches, and, maybe try to add one more thing on to your business, to help it grow. But whatever you do, you have to be consistent. You got to give it 3 to 6 months to see if it works. But I would say you got to really niche down right now. I mean, because like I said, I think if you do that, you stay consistent, you get on the phone, even though you hate it, you better like it, and network with other, going on workplace, and keep doing what we've been doing and solidify those relationships, for referrals.
What about you, Austin?
So mine is from Robbie T out in Fargo, and it was kind of just the thought of getting back to work. Talking about how we've all been fishermen, but fish have been jumping in our boats, and then we think we're badass, and we're not. And now it's time in years, skills really matter again, and I think it's just a really good realization that things have been easy, and the money is still there. It's just disguised as work now. It's not just, you're not dunking on a little Tykes who are now you're playing against LeBron, and not playing into people's fears. That was another thing that Robbie brought up. And so like today on my phone calls, the initial phone call we had was like that's of I'm terrified of everything. But I remember what Robbie talked about not playing into fear, and finding about their motivation and diving more into the people and about collaborating. And we ended up, I think today our team set like over 10 appointments today. Like it's been a really good Monday. And a lot of it comes back to that reality of just like, hey, we're going to have to love on people more than we did before.
Yeah.
We have to provide services that are deeper than what we did before. We're going to have to manage more emotions and more fear, and we're going to have to work. And that's been that's showing some positive signs for me and my business, and I think we'll continue to see that growth. So I thank you guys for jumping on and watching with us. Ramsey for contributing.
Yay.
Hi, Ramsey.
Hi, Ramsey. Miss you.
Some really good comments, and this will obviously be available on YouTube. I'll share it over to Workplace. So if you're real and you check it out there, Mixon, you were at the event. We'd love to hear what your input was as well. And so until next time, me and Cass will be doing a show next week. Yes or yes?
No, 21st. I'm getting married next Monday.
Yeah. Sorry, that
she's a little busy.
not as important as the show, but after that, when she gets, we're going to be doing a show on kind of some weather conditions we've been dealing with out here in the Pacific Northwest and struggles our real estate market has been through, and the people that we're around are going through with all the wildfires and things. And thank God now it's raining, so that's sort of going away. But it'll be a really interesting show. I'm a retired firefighter, so I've got some minutes. Cass has been here for a long time, has dealt with a lot of sides of this. Was in fact afraid her home was going to burn down this last week. The last time when we were gone to San Antonio.
Yeah.
So it's all been there. So be sure to join in. We'll release the link for that here shortly. Do you ladies have anything else before we sign off?
Yeah, so Austin and I are doing ours the 21st, and then Patricia and I will be bringing back the real estate tea. We're going to be talking about women in real estate and how women need to support women. That'll be live on the 28th, that Monday, and that will also be at 2 p.m. Pacific,
4 p.m. Central.
It takes me a lot to think about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be around, and we will be posting that up here soon too. So
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Bye, guys.
Bye.